Hey everyone, it's James from Epilog Laser. If you're looking for some design ideas for laser engraving cutting boards, we've got a great one for you today. You can click the link in our description to download the files we've created of some city map cutting boards that come out just beautifully. We'll also show you how to create your own laser maps using Laser Map Maker so you can customize these however you want. Let's get started. So to create our map, we're going to be using Laser Map Maker. Now this is really the best one out there that I found. It does a really nice job, and you can find it at lasermapmaker.com. You can sign up for a free subscription, and you'll get 3 free exports, and that's going to be 3 layers basically of the map that you can export. We're only going to be creating 1 layer today, so you could do up to 3 maps that way. So we're going to go ahead and create new project. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to do this one as one of my favorite cities in the world, Florence, Italy. Do a blank template and create project. Now, once that comes in, first thing I'm going to do is come up to the search bar and go ahead and type in Florence. You can do this for any city that you want. And that's going to bring in a map of the city. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my satellite overlay and turn that off so I don't see that background. So I'm going to go ahead and click on aspect ratio, and then I'm going to go ahead and set this to a little bit larger than the actual piece, so 15 by 10 inches. And that'll give me a good idea of where the map's going to actually engrave on the piece. So now we're ready to add a layer, so I'll click Add Layer. I'm going to choose Roads. I'll choose all roadways and bridges. And then I'll come up to water. I'm going to do water fill as well and do create layer. So now I can see what's coming in here. Let's go ahead and scroll out a little bit so we get more of the city on there, more of what I'm actually going to engrave. And this is a great way to kind of locate on your map what size you want to have to get most of the city in it and to give a really interesting look. I'm thinking that's looking pretty good there. And I'm just going to come in and check my layer settings by clicking the 3 dots. Come over to settings. And I've got my tracing strategy is to fill. So all these lines will be filled. And I'm going to export as an SVG so that looks good. And let's go ahead and I'm going to set my border width to 0 because I really don't need that wide border on the outside for this. Go ahead and close that up. And that's really all there is to it. So you can come in, you can change your road widths, you can do all kinds of things in here, but I find this is a really great way to quickly do this. So we'll go ahead and preview export. So that'll take a couple minutes, but once that pulls in, I can see my layer down here and click on it, see everything I need. Say yes, I'm going to vectorize it, fill, that all looks good. Click next. Now tiling, we're not going to do it with this one, but if you were doing a multi-layer map where you're cutting, let's say engraving the water and then cutting out the city streets on top of it, this would be a good way to do that. So we're just going to go next again. And I've got my layer here. I'm just going to click export. Confirm that I've reviewed all my options and click export. And it's going to start uploading that layer map. And this one's pretty quick to do. Once I have that in here, it will change back to that look with the satellite view, but don't worry about that. It's going to go ahead and process it. And this will take a couple minutes. Once that's done, we can come over here to our layer, click download, and I'm going to choose output. And that'll export my SVG file. So if you're using one of our already prepared files, you'll just go ahead and download that from the link in the description. And we've got those in CorelDRAW, Illustrator, and SVG formats, and you'll print that over the laser dashboard. Now, if you created your own map using Laser Map Maker, I'll show you how to set that up as well. I've set up a box, the area of the engraving that we're going to do on the cutting board. It's 14.5 by 9.563 inches. Now I'm doing these on the front of the cutting board because it's going to be a decorative piece. If it's a cutting board you're going to want to use as well, you're probably going to want to engrave that on the back. I've also added in the city name and a little quote here. And I've got my imported file that we just created. So I'm just going to go ahead, right click and ungroup that. Now, one thing I've noticed in CorelDRAW is sometimes when you bring in an SVG file, there's different layers that's been put together. It thinks part of those layers are nested and they lock them. So you're just going to want to go ahead and select everything, choose objects, and sure enough, you can see some of these have a lock next to them. So we're just going to go ahead and select all of those. And I'll just right click and unlock those. Now I've got all the water layer that came in as blue, so I'm going to select a piece of that, come to find and replace. I'll do from selection, find all, and then I'll grab all those blue pieces. I'll turn those black so they'll engrave nicely. That looks all ready to go, so we'll group that. I'll right click on it and power clip that inside of my box. Now I could engrave it exactly as it is, or I can right click, edit the power clip, and I can just resize that or move it around so I'm showing the area I want to engrave. So I'm just going to go ahead and shrink this down a little bit. Move that to where I want it. And I can right click and finish editing the power clip. And finally, I'm going to turn off the outline around that box. We'll go ahead and print that. I've chosen the Epilog engraver. Now with these SVG files we download, sometimes I find in CorelDRAW, best thing to do is go over your PostScript and make sure your compatibility is set to PostScript 3. It just makes sure all those lines come over from the SVG file. Usually not a problem, but sporadically I've had some issues there with CorelDRAW. Go back to your general and we'll click print. And that'll send it over the laser dashboard. So once that comes in, I can see it looks like it's pretty well located on the board. Now, normally what I would do is run this at the laser and use the trace feature to make sure it was perfectly aligned. But since I'm using the Fusion Ascent today, I'm going to actually use one of the new features, which is Iris HD Plus. So basically what I'm going to do is use the camera that's located at the lens assembly, and it'll come out over the top of the piece and give me a really accurate location of where my graphic is going to be positioned. So I'm just going to move this bottom right corner right to the center of the screen, and I will turn on HD Plus, and it'll bring the laser head out and go right over that area. Now this is also on the Fusion Pros, so if you've got an older Fusion Pro, download the latest software and firmware and you can use this feature as well. So now that I've got that area, I can go ahead and scroll in. And I can see really accurately where my graphic's placed. Go even closer if I want to here. Then I'm just going to grab my graphic and reposition that so it's right at the edge of that lip. Once I have that placed exactly where I want, I can go ahead and set up my settings. So I'm running this on a Fusion Ascent 1260 watt. So I'm using 500 DPI. My speed, I'm going to set to about 30%. And my power, I'll take all the way up to 100%. And I'll do bottom to top engraving and click print and send this over the laser. Let's go check it out and see how it comes out. After giving these a quick wipe down and adding a coat of clear varnish, they came out just beautifully and are a great presentation piece. So now we've got a really great set of laser engraved cutting boards. They came out just beautifully. So I hope you found these design tips helpful today. If you did, be sure to like the video, leave a comment, and let us know what cities you've created on the cutting boards as well, or if you have any tips for using Laser Map Maker or any questions for me as well. If you haven't done so already, subscribe so you find out when the latest videos are coming out from Epilog Laser. If you'd like to find out more about Epilog Laser or the new Fusion Ascent, be sure to click the link in our description, fill out the form on our website. Thanks, and we'll see you again soon.